Hi, Linda Sessions here, and welcome to Module 2 in Computer Applications. During the first week, I know it was a real whirlwind week. You looked at some basics in computers. You looked at making sure that you have the correct version of Office on your machine. And I know several of you had indicated that you were using Chromebooks or Mac computers. Remember, Chromebooks will not utilize the desktop program for Microsoft Office. It is my understanding that the most expensive new Chromebook will do that, but your basic Chromebooks will not run Microsoft Office. So you will not be able to use them for this class. You will need to find access to another computer. We do have computer labs at our school. We do have some laptops that you're able to check out. You need to contact the IT department about that, and you can call them at 677-9905 or send them an email at studenthelpdesk@wsutech.edu or contact your advisor. Or we do have computer labs here at the school. The public libraries also have computer labs, and most of them have Microsoft Office on their desktops, so you can do your assignments there. So you might have to do a little bit of extra work if you have a Chromebook and finding a computer where you can actually complete the assignments. Now, if you have a MacBook, it is possible to do this class on a Mac. What you need to remember is, one, I don't know a whole lot about Mac, the interface with Microsoft Office. It's a little bit different. I can help you with it. I will be Googling it just like you would be Googling it. I know finding the info tab on a Mac is different. You just can't go up to the file tab, and I honestly don't remember where that's at. I would have to go in and Google. And I would just go into Google and say, how do I find the info tab on a Mac computer in Excel? And follow the prompts there. Some of the information in Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, when it comes to selecting themes, even Excel, when you're selecting themes, the color choices, the names of the different choices don't appear in the Mac interface. I don't know why they don't. They just didn't make it that way. And so it's a little harder to find the specific colors that we're looking for in the assignments if you're using a Mac. Now, you can utilize the remote desktop application, and you can get that downloaded to your Mac. You can contact our IT department, and they can help you get your Mac set up and use the remote desktop. And what that does is that allows you to remote into our servers, and it's just as if you're on our computers here, so you have access to the PC to complete your assignments. I've had students who have had Macs, and they have told me they wish they would have just done the remote desktop from the get-go instead of trying to figure it out. For this class, excuse me, and then after the class, working with the Mac, and when they don't have to worry about specific colors, doing the projects and stuff on a Mac computer. So, I mean, it can be done, it's just a little not as easy on a Mac. In week 2, we actually go into Microsoft Office. So one thing I want to point out is how you can download Microsoft Office and make sure that you have the right one. So if you go to office.com, and it's taking you to the Welcome to the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, and you can sign in. And when you sign in with your using your WSU Tech email. You might be asked to do an authentication using the Microsoft authentication on your phone, but use your WSU Tech email. And when you get to this point, right down here, you see where it says apps. You're going to select apps. And then here are all the different programs, applications. We're going to choose Excel over here. Or right up here in the right hand corner, you see where it says install apps. If you click on here, you can install it to your desktop. So here's the Microsoft apps, so you can install them to your desktop. Now the Copilot is Microsoft's AI program. It does cost money. There are a few options of it that are free, so you can download the free app and play around with that. I know it used to be a lot of money. I think there's some versions of it now that are free though, but that's where you're going to install the apps to your desktop. So let's go back into the class in Canvas. If you have any questions about that, send me an email or contact our IT department and they can help you make sure that your computer is set up with Microsoft Office on the desktop. The web version of Microsoft Office will not work. You have to use the one in the desktop. So here in week 2, the first discussion board or the second discussion board asks, are we too dependent on technology? You're in an online class. But how often have you gone out to eat and everybody's on their phones? They're sitting across the table from each other, but they're not communicating because they're all on their devices. Do we rely too much on technology? Basically, that's what I want to know. What are your thoughts on that? Make sure that you write, I would like 4 to 6 sentences, a paragraph or 2, why you feel that way. If you reference an article, please put a link to that article in your discussion board. That makes your discussion boards more interesting. Post early in the week so your classmates have a chance to have somebody to reply to, and make sure that you reply to somebody, because you're not going to get your full points if you don't reply or post your thoughts and reply to at least one other student. And don't just reply to the first student on the list. I mean, look through and read your other fellow students' remarks about, do they feel we're too dependent on technology? Maybe they don't. Here's a checklist that goes over the appointment or the assignments for this week. Here's a link to the YouTube playlist, but I'm going to show you right here. This is a link to the text, this engaged text talking about Excel Module 1. How do you use Excel and creating a worksheet and chart? And let me tell you, we just dent the surface of what you can do with Excel in this class. Literally just dent it. There is so much more you can do with Excel. So I strongly encourage you to read through, review, look through the chapter. Right here is a link to a video where I cover this Excel assignment. So I talk about Excel in this video and I cover this exact assignment. So if you want to see something similar to what I do in my face-to-face classes, here's a video. Watch that before you go in and do the assignments, and I guarantee you it's going to help you be successful with this assignment and working in SAM. Then here is Excel 2. We get more detail working with formulas and functions and tabs in Excel, working with bigger file. And then here is a video over Rivera Engineering, which is the second assignment in Excel. And so watch this video before you go in and do Excel Module 2 assignment, and it will help you understand what you need to be doing to complete this assignment. So I strongly urge you to watch the videos before you go in and do those assignments. It's going to help you tremendously. The last thing for this week is time management. So a big thing in school is time management. You've got to figure out how am I going to get everything done? Now, the assignments are due September 1st, but if you wait until September 1st to start working on them, you're not going to get them done. And if you have questions, I'm not going to have time to get back to you. And then if you have more questions, have another conversation. So you want to start early in the week. So you want to look at your schedule and figure out, how can I find the time? Where am I going to study? And you want to be specific about your studying. And in this video, I talk about time management, what you need to look for. And just a tip, what you want to do is you want to take like an Excel spreadsheet, and you want to take every day of the week and you want to write down, when am I in class? When am I at work? When do I need to be driving to and from work or school, or I'm on the bus? When do I need to sleep? Because the first thing that goes for students is sleep, and you can't. Sleep is when your body regenerates. That's when your brain puts stuff from short-term memory into long-term memory. So you don't want to skimp on sleep. When do you eat? If you're into sports, when is that game, or when do you have practice? You've got to put everything that you do on the calendar. If you go to church, when do you go to church? If you have a family, when do you spend time with the family? And then for every credit hour that you are taking a college class, you need to plan on 2 to 3 additional hours studying for that class. So if you're in a 3 credit hour computer applications class, you should plan on 3 hours just to read the text, to take notes on the text, and to look at the videos, to look at the assignments, and to learn the information that week. Then you need another 6 to 9 hours to actually do the work. So you need, for some of you, 9 to 12 hours to do a 3 credit hour class. Now, my class usually doesn't take that long. I would say 6 to 12 hours, depending upon where you were at in your skill level with Microsoft Office. But some classes are going to take you a long time. Where are you going to study? And if you plan your study time just like you do your work time and look at it as your second job, then you're going to be able to do okay with your studying. So this video talks about some time management tips, and then you're going to use your Excel skills that you learned from doing these 2 assignments up here, and some tips that I give you in the video, and you're going to create your own individual time management spreadsheet. So that's what you're going to be doing this week. So you've got a discussion board. Are we too dependent on technology? You're going to look at Excel. There's 2 assignments here, and then there is a time management spreadsheet, and it's all due on September 1st. Now, as always, if you want to meet with me, we can do a Zoom meeting or we can do a phone call. Just let me know when you want to meet, and we can make that happen. So again, I'm Linda Sessions. This is Module 2 in Computer Applications. Have a great week. Reach out if you have any questions over any of these assignments. Bye.